Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and in this special episode, I want to talk about crafting with comics. Now, I know what you're thinking. For me, the idea of cutting up or ruining an old comic book just makes me tense and anxious. Anytime I see someone mishandling or outright destroying a comic, it just fills me with dread because I love comics so much. But I think there is some use to crafting with comics. I think there's some cool stuff you can do. You can make a lot of new items, and particularly, you can take comics that are incomplete or damaged or ruined and use parts of them to craft. And in that way, you can sort of rehabilitate those comics. You can make them sort of come alive again and give them a new value and purpose. You know, when you have a comic, say it's missing a part of the page, or there's sections that are torn out so you can't read the story. It's cool to sort of take individual panels and make different things with them so you can sort of keep those comics alive. And there's a lot of fun and neat things that you can do with that. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you some of the crafting that I've done with comics, and then what we're going to do is we're going to dive into my crafting box. I have a box full of old comics and parts of comics and advertisements for comics that I've collected over the years, and I've thrown into this box specifically for crafting. But it's been a couple years since I've been in there, and I think there might be some things in there that I actually want to take back out and rescue. In particular, I was inspired to do this in part by a video from the Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe Comics, where she was talking about Wonder Woman 204. Now, that's the first appearance of Nubia. I have a full run of that section of Wonder Woman. I've got every issue from 178 up until Volume 2, like issue 62 or whatever, the end of the George Perez run. So I have about 25 years worth of Wonder Woman comics. I got them several years ago before Wonder Woman comics sort of took off in price. So I had no idea that Wonder Woman 204 has sort of become this minor key. If you go online to eBay, even low-grade copies are going to cost you like $40 or $50 now, which I had no conception of before I watched her video. And I'm pretty sure that there's a copy of Wonder Woman 204 in my crafting box. I don't know what condition it's in. It wouldn't be in my crafting box to begin with if it wasn't trashed. But there have been times when I've gone through like 25-cent bins or 50-cent bins at stores, and I've pulled some old beat-up comics out of there specifically for crafting. So it's possible that that copy is just super low grade but still complete. And if it is, we're going to rescue it. And we're going to see what else is in there, because it's been a couple years since I've done this. I also want to give a shout out to my wife. When we first met and started dating, she's really into crafting. She makes a lot of beautiful different crafts, jewelry, and she makes great handmade greeting cards and a bunch of cool stuff. And so when we started dating, I started getting into crafting so we could craft together. And that's when I decided I was going to focus my crafting on making stuff with comic books. So what I'm going to do in this video, first I'm going to show you some of the crafting tools that I use. I'm going to show you some of the finished products so you can see what I do with it. And then we're going to unbox my crafting box of old comics to see what's in there and what we can rescue. And then if you have any ideas of what I can do with some of these things, because it's been a couple years and I have some really neat things in this box that I just haven't been able to figure out what to do with. Leave some comments. Tell me what you think I should make with this stuff. Let me know if there's any information you want to know about crafting. So thanks again for watching, and let's go down to the craft room and see what there is to see. Okay, so here's the crafting corner. Some of my stuff, and we'll just take a close look. This is the sort of thing that I do a lot of. This is a box here. Hopefully I didn't just give anyone vertigo. So it's a simple dollar box that I bought, I think, at Michael's. I painted the red, white, and blue, and then I used a giant hole punch on a piece of white construction paper to form the circle. I cut out the Superman. This is from the World's Finest graphic novel from the 90s. I didn't actually cut out the graphic novel, but there's advertisements that reprinted that cover, full page ads in some old back issues that something like Damaged or something I got at a 50-cent bin, I forget. So I cut that out, and then I used Mod Podge to stick it down. Then you can just open it up, and Put some stuff in there. There's a magnetic clasp there. The paint does sometimes get a little sticky when it's hot, so you have to work to open it sometimes, but this is one of the better ones I did. I think it looks really neat. I've sold several when my wife and I have done craft fairs where we have our crafting stuff. I have sold a number of other boxes. So let's take a look and see some of the stuff that I have in my crafting boxes. It's all comic related. So here's just some of the supplies. I got some cork. I got some colored pencils. This is an old wooden cigar box, but it's filled with stamps and paint. Here's some more supplies. Here's another box. This one I actually put together upside down, so I just kept it for myself. You can see there's some panels for Amazing Fantasy 15. I just had 6 or 7 copies of Amazing Fantasy 15, so I cut them all up. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Actually, what I had that I did a lot of crafts with was an old beat-up coverless copy of Marvel Tales #1. It was the annual from, I think, either 64 or 65, where they reprinted the origin stories of all the Marvel heroes. So it had reprints of all the first appearances. I got, again, a coverless, beat-up coverless copy for 50 cents at a store, and it was perfect for all these iconic images and sequences. I made a bunch of boxes and different things. Here's some more supplies. This looks like a weird thing to have as a supply, but I'll show you. I think somewhere in here I have some of the finished products. What I do is I'll Mod Podge superhero stuff over these light switch plates. And so, I've got light switch plates that I've made that have like Batman and Catwoman and Bizarro on them. It's just a fun little thing to have for a comic room. Here's a bunch of vintage Viewmaster slides. I've got some really cool ones, Spider-Man cartoons and Smurfs and stuff. I have not been able to quite get that to work. Here's a collection of characters that I've cut out to use on things, but I haven't actually used. You can see Bizarro, Spider-Man, Joker, Wonder Woman, the Catwoman logo. There's a whole bunch of things that I've clipped out of different comics. One that's great for this is the Who's Who in the DC Universe. I have a giant pile of those that I got in like 10-cent bins, 25-cent bins. I've got a big stack of them. So they make really great cutouts. Like this Wonder Woman one is from one of those. So the Joker, the Bizarro. I've got a bunch of cool ones. They're all from Who's Who. It's really great for crafting because it's cheap and easy to find, and just some iconic drawings by some of the greats. So things that I think might make cool panels or boxes or cards or something, I keep them here so I don't have to keep the whole comic. I've got, these are clear plastic. I can put them on top of things. Magnets. Magnets are a little tough to work with. I've messed some stuff up with magnets before. Here's a square hole punch. Okay, and here's some of the finished products. Here's another box. Again, we've got from Amazing Fantasy 15, Spider-Man's Origin. Again, I did not actually cut up the original. Don't come after me. This is another box that I keep my supplies in. I did these as tests from Sergeant Fury #1. And then from the first Giant Man, I forget whatever issue Tales of Astonishing was, a 49 maybe, where he becomes Giant Man. I was just doing these to learn how to do it. I wish I had saved this one because it's really neat. But yeah, so I've got a bunch of brushes and different paint supplies and markers and stuff in there. Here's one of my boxes. I have a whole bunch. I'm going to show you a bunch of different Archie ones. Most of those came from this one issue that I have. Here's another one. It's a Betty box. Looks cool. And then I have a whole bunch of really cool cards. Now, cards are really easy to make. They're much easier than the boxes, because the boxes you have to paint, and like it's just, you know, cards are easy. What I do is I'll start with some blank cards. Like here's a whole box of blank cards. These are really vibrant, and they're dirt cheap. I got them on sale. You know, they're like 60 for $5 or something, right? And so basically with the cards, what I'll do is I'll simply take I cut out all the cool panels that I think will look good on a card, and then I'll cut to size a frame from thick construction paper, and then I just basically I use a glue stick. Different people use different ways to fix it, but I'll glue the panel to the frame, and then I'll glue that onto the card, and then you've got a bunch of cool cards made out of actual authentic comic panels. As you can see, this is from Hulk #1. I have a whole ton of really cool Archie cards. Here's Betty in a foul mood. A lot of these came from a coverless issue of Archie Pals and Gals from around 1960, and just classic art. So I've got a whole bunch. I can show you just real quick, like some of the just classic cartooning. A lot of great like Harry Lucy stuff. Sometimes I'll add, if I think there's like a funny punchline, I'll add something, some unintentional innuendo. If there's like a specific topic, here's one for playing board games where they're playing Monopoly. A lot of them are like just funny panels. Betty. There's a lot of close-up. This is I think is actually the same drawing. They just reversed it. It's from the same issue. I also have a bunch of romance ones. These are really cool cards to give, to someone that you're in love with. You give your sweetie a romance card. I had one issue of Secret Hearts that had a bunch of water damage, so the cover was off. Rusty staples, and the rust was actually migrating into the book. Some of the pages weren't damaged though, so it was a perfect candidate, particularly since I had a nicer copy as well for my own collection. Since some of the pages weren't damaged and didn't have the staining, I was able to cut them up and make these cool romantic cards. So there's some that are like actually romantic, but then there's other cards like this one that are just sort of more ironic. This is one, it's a favorite of mine. It's almost like a Liechtenstein sort of pop arts thing. I thought this panel was hilarious out of context, or even in context. I thought I could wash my yearning away in the water, but the plea from my heart was even louder there. She just looks just poleaxed. So, stuff like this. And then I just have a lot of, again, cool Archie stuff where they're just funny panels that you can send someone. Here's Archie as a struggling artist. Anyway, I've got like 50 or 60 of these cards. I've just got piles and piles of them. When my wife and I used to do like town-wide yard sales or crafting festivals, we'd bring the cards and I'd sell a few here and there, but I give them away. Like, I use them as cards to give people. And then I do have some superhero ones. Like here's a Wonder Woman card. It says, why has Wonder Woman traveled to the remote Alps to face Hitler's elite ski troops? I don't know. But anyway, the cards are very easy to make. So it's something, fun that anybody can do very easily. Here are some of the light switch plates that I mentioned. Here's Golden Age Batman. This one had a little bit of an issue with the Mod Podge. I didn't quite do this one correctly, so it's kind of wrinkled a little bit. But here's the splash page from the first appearance of Thor. I have some that are Archie. Here's a classic image of Betty from the 60s. So these are really easy to make too. It's just Mod Podge. The light plates cost like $1 each, you know. I also made these necklaces. Here's a Superman necklace. They're all tangled up right now. Here's a necklace with the first appearance of Hulk. Or, well, it's not actually the first appearance of Hulk. That's issue 180, but it's the cover of 181. You know, these necklaces I had to buy. Here, this is Wonder Woman from the movie. And we've got like Veronica, Golden Age Batman. There's a Detective Comics 27, Batman's first appearance. So I had to buy the cords. I had to buy the blank necklaces, and then I had to sort of glue them in. I used super glue on these. All told, it only cost me about $1 each for the materials. It's a little bit tricky to get them affixed so that they don't get messed up, but it's still cool. And then I have a few other things I haven't actually used yet on anything. Like here's a stencil, right? So you could put this down and you could draw. You could use paint or something over it, or marker or something. I've got a bunch of different superhero stencils. Since I mentioned the magnets, I just wanted to take a quick look at a couple magnets I've made and show you what worked and what didn't work. They're very easy to make. Basically, there's a glass, sort of large glass bead. You can get a bag of these at like Michael's for a couple $. So they only cost like 20 cents each or something. And then on the back, we've got a powerful magnet. You notice I had a whole bunch of these in my crafting box. And again, it's like $10 for like a pack of 50 of these or something like that. So they don't cost very much. And it's really simple. Basically what you do is you cut out the image to the shape of the glass bead, and then you use Mod Podge to affix it to the back. It'll dry clear. Then you take like what I did is I took like Gorilla Glue and something powerful so that the magnet will stick to it and stay stuck, and glue it on. And it's that simple. It's very easy to do. You can see, however, this one is completely ruined. And through trial and error, what I discovered, unfortunately, after I had made a whole bunch of these that were all ruined, is that it's the Gorilla Glue, basically the super glue. It will go through the paper. It'll like sort of eat through the paper and destroy the image. It'll soak in and ruin it. The Mod Podge part is fine. So the difference between these two is that this is regular comic book paper, right? So it's like internal newsprint. This, however, was a thicker. It's like a magazine, like a slick paper. And because it's the thicker, slick magazine paper, the glue didn't soak all the way through. And so the image came out fine. It just happened to be random chance that the first batch of magnets I did, again, just completely random chance, they were all on the slick magazine paper. And when I did the second batch, they were all on newsprint. So I didn't know after making the first batch that the glue would go through the newsprint and ruin them, and I destroyed like 20 magnets, which is a real bummer. But now I know, and again, it's just a cool thing you can do. I would assume the magazine, like comic book covers, would work for this as well. I've never cut up a cover to do this. I've only used magazines. But yeah, so here's a look at the magnets if you want to make some of those yourself. We have a bunch of them on our fridge. So anyway, that's just a little look at my crafting stuff that I make out of old comics. And now we're going to take a look at my box of old comics that I use for crafting, and we're going to see what's in there. Alright, so I've got the camera set up here so we can look into the box, and I don't know, again, if this Wonder Woman issue is in here, and if it is, I don't know where, and I don't know what else is in here, because it's been like 2 years since I've looked in here. But we're gonna look at things one at a time. This is it's basically an ad book. You can see that, called DC Nation. So it has all these advertisements about comic characters. So these sort of things are a really good place to get like these sort of free advertising things. You can get lots of cool comic book images without cutting up actual comics. There's DC previews, again, more ads. There's a couple in particular in here that I've used multiple times because I had multiple copies of this. This is an older one, but there was one with a cool Wonder Woman image that I used out of here. Okay, so here's Archie's Pals and Gals 28. And as you can see, there's no back cover. I got this for like 50 cents, and this one I don't think I've actually gone through yet. It's also got stuff inside. Like someone went through here with a marker and drew all over. So there's sections in here that are damaged. Most of it's intact. I'll probably read it, you know, before I do anything else with it. But there's some really cool images here. Like this is a great Betty pinup that I could do something with. So again, like I would never, you know, take like a nice old comic and cut it up. Something like this where, you know, there's like the back cover's missing, there's writing on the inside, so it's pretty damaged. This is a perfect thing, you know, someone's written some like their own word balloons on the cover. This was a free comic book day from 2016 of the comic book marketplace, and it had a bunch of cool like little comic covers. Like here's the Death of Captain America cover. This is where I got some of the little covers that I used for the necklaces. Another previews and a lot of good stuff here, and actually there's some little pieces floating around that I cut out at some point that I meant to use. So like here's a DC Superhero Girls. This is Batgirl from that I'm gonna was gonna make into a necklace, and I haven't. Here's a little. I was gonna make this into a magnet, but the magnets didn't work out, so I've got these. Here's a Thor. Again, this was for a magnet, but the magnets didn't work this time. Okay, so here's a book that I don't remember having in here, and I think I might actually rescue this from the lot as well, because it's actually a pretty nice copy, a complete copy in like a looks like about a 7.5, maybe even an 8 of Marvel Tales 138 reprinting Spider-Man #1. So I'm sure I got this for $1 or something, and that's why I put it in my thing to craft with, because it has so many iconic panels and stuff. But I never actually did anything with it, so I think I'm going to take this out and rescue this one too as an unexpected bonus. All right, so okay, here we have some classic Silver Age front covers. Oh, looks like there's some back covers. Some of them have back covers still attached. Covers only. Superman 139. Here's a Green Lantern #8. This has got a cool like gray tone on it. Really neat effect. And so both of those were books that I got in this lot that I'll tell you about in a little bit. Here's a True Believers Amazing Fantasy 15 again. It says $1. I don't think I paid $1 for it. I think I got it cheaper than that. And it's something where there was actually multiple copies of this, so I socked away a couple for myself. And then I was like, this could make some really cool boxes and cards with, but I haven't actually done anything with it. And this is a coverless issue of Archie. It's Archie 441, but it's missing the cover. There's also some scraps with some Wonder Woman logos that I slipped into here. Yeah, so let's see, what's this? Oh, all right. So here's a coverless copy of Justice League of America 115. A coverless copy of Archie at Riverdale High 15. Oh, I mentioned this earlier. This is what's left of Heartthrob's 111. It's really bad. You can see the bad rust with the migration and the staining. There's a lot of water damage. So that one is almost dangerous to keep with the other books because it could migrate. Rust could migrate. Here's a DC Comics Presents Superman and Shazam number 49 with a relatively early Black Adam. I say early; he did appear in the 1940s, but only once. So this is probably like his third or fourth appearance, even though it took place so much later. This actually looks like it's complete. I don't remember messing with this, but it's in really bad shape. Okay, so here's some more covers. It's Flash number 120. These complete covers, I don't want to cut them up, but I haven't figured out what to do with them. And I don't have any of the interiors for them. This one's actually torn in half and coverless. It's a Superboy 88. I had to piece it together because the box like these came in and they're all separate. Coverless Millie the Model 149. Which is actually written by Denny O'Neil, of all people. Which, I don't know. We got a remaindered copy of Jughead 125. So, back in the day, when newsstands would return their books to get credit, they would just rip the logo off and send those back to supposedly just show that they destroyed the books, but a lot of them would then actually sell the books at a discount, which was illegal, but it was widespread. So that's why you'll see a lot of books from the period that have the logo missing. There's a couple of things cut out of the cover. I probably did that. I probably made some Jughead necklaces out of that. Here's another remaindered book. This one is Life with Archie. I think this looks like from the cover it's like 39 or 40. Yeah, it's number 40. Remaindered copy, I think, of Laugh 177. Most of these I haven't done anything with. This one looks like I cut out a couple panels. This is what's left of an Archie 160. This one's missing the whole cover. Someone cut the whole cover off. That was not me. I'd gotten a big lot of Archie books. Like there was like 97 of them, and 7 or 8 of them came like this. Here's just part of a cover. It looks like it's late 60s. Here's Archie's Joke Book number 88, remaindered. Issue of Archie, I don't know which one because I cut off the part that had the issue number, missing the whole front cover. So these are great, you can see I cut a panel out here, but these books, and I've cut Betty's face off, so I made a necklace out of Betty's head. Yeah, this is the sort of thing that's great for crafting. This is a sampler. So it's just got reprints of a bunch of classic Golden Age stories in it. There's some cool stuff like Wonder Woman I might use at some point. This looks like her from the cover of Sensation number 1. Here's just one page from an Archie book. This ad has some cool Betty and Veronica working out. By Harry Lucy. He drew them in these outfits on the cover of Betty and Veronica 40, which goes for like hundreds and hundreds of dollars now. But hey, I've got it right here for free. Speaking of Lucy, here's the bottom half of an Archie front cover by Lucy. Don't have the rest of the book. Here's the Creatures on the Loose 16. This is missing a page. It's incomplete. I don't know, it might be missing the whole centerfold, but I remember when I went to read it, it was missing a piece, so I threw it in here. I haven't done anything with it. I made necklaces I showed you earlier out of some of these little covers. Again, it's a great resource. Here's a Thor 255. It's complete except for some reason the Comics Code Authority stamp has been cut off. So I think I might have done something with this one because it was damaged. Here's a like a Betty and Veronica summer special. It's like a double sized. The whole first page is missing on this one. Absolutely trashed copy of World's Finest 244. This one I have cut up a little bit. And here it is. Here it is. In my crafting box. It's Wonder Woman 204. Unfortunately, it is actually missing a couple panels on the inside. It is damaged. You can see that it's also coverless, and I mean the cover's detached and split. So yeah, there's a significant amount of damage, but I think, you know, hopefully I can think of something neat to do with this, because the cover still looks awesome. You know, it's a great cover, and I was hoping that it was more complete than this, but the significant damage and the missing parts inside are part of why I ended up putting it in the crafting box. But I'm gonna take it out now. Maybe there's some use for it. Maybe I can find someone that still wants it even with the damage. There's a coverless Adventure Comics 269. It's actually missing one of the stories as well. So this is the first appearance of Aqualad, right? Here's the Aqualad story. The Aqualad issue story is complete, but the entire Green Arrow story is missing from this. It was missing when I got it. So I haven't quite figured out what to do with that. Teen Titans number 12, coverless. Here's Marvel Superheroes number 27, which is reprinting the classic fight between Daredevil and Namor. I know there's some great panels in here. Here's some coverless ones that I bought. Remaindered copy of Superman 183. Here's a coverless complete copy of Superman 170. This is infamous for having this JFK story that in the book came out right after he was assassinated. So the cover date of this is July 1964. Yeah, here's the cover for Ghostly Tales 82. Cover only, World's Finest 120. Actually, no, there's part of the interior here, but it's missing the first wrap. So I've got some of the book, but not all of it. Cover only, Superboy 89. Here's Superboy 86, and this has most of the interior, but the front page has been ripped in half. The cover only is Superboy 84. And then just some pieces of stuff like coverless World's Finest 116. Here's a coverless copy of Green Lantern number 12. Coverless copy of Superman 146, which is actually a key issue. But part of the reason it's key is because it has an amazing cover, which I don't have here. Detective Comics 290. These are all coverless. So like there's a coverless Wonder Woman 118. And these are all books that I haven't done anything with. Like, I haven't done any crafting with this stuff. There's a coverless giant issue of House of Mystery, Superman 137 coverless, some sort of trash Batman annual. So you're probably wondering where I got all of these Silver Age covers and fragments of books. And the answer is I got this lot on eBay a couple years ago where it was all this stuff, and I just basically took a flyer on it. We couldn't tell quite what everything was, but in the picture there was a gold key Star Trek #1. And so I bought the lot for $27. It had all of these Silver Age pieces in it. So all of these Superboys, there were actually, and they were all like completely separated. So like, for instance, the Superboy 86, where I have most of the interior, that was not in the cover. Everything was in a giant mass, and I had to sort through it and piece it together like a puzzle to figure out what went with what. And I actually managed to put together 5 or 6 complete issues. For instance, I have a complete copy of Justice League of America #7 that came in this lot. I was able to sell the Star Trek #1 to cover the cost of the whole thing, but then I actually ended up making money because tucked inside the Justice League of America #7 cover were 2 comics. The other one was a coverless copy of Justice League of America #1. It was missing the first wrap. But I sold that to someone for like $35. So I ended up making money. I ended up with all of these cool scraps. I got 5 or 6 totally trash but complete Silver Age early DC books. So that was a really cool purchase. And I'm not sure what to do with all of these cool covers, but they're really neat, and I want to do something with them, like framing them or something creative with them so that people can enjoy this art and it's not just tucked away in a box like this. This wasn't completely unsuccessful because we did manage to find this higher grade complete Marvel Tales 138. And this is a book I'm definitely going to take out of the crafting bin now. So we didn't save the book we were hoping to, but we saved this instead. And I think we're going to chalk that up as a win. So thanks very much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think about the crafting. Again, I only do it with books that are already seriously damaged. A number of these coverless books haven't really been touched. I got them that way. And if you have any ideas of what to do with all those cool Silver Age covers, let me know. I'd love to do something to sort of bring them back out into the light so people can enjoy them again, so I can enjoy them. And I just haven't come up with a creative way to do that. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.